From Delaware's most award-winning radio news team, this is WDEL Video News. Here's Chris Carl.
Among Delaware's top stories for Wednesday, February 21st, another appeal for Tom Capano. Controversial plans for the Columbus Inn are on hold. And downtown Wilmington's newest building is open for business. Here are the details. State police are investigating an accident that killed one person near Stanton last night. Police have released few details, but have said a DART bus hit a man who had fallen onto the roadway just after 8 p.m. The accident happened at Route 4 and First State Boulevard. A 7-year-old child accidentally shot himself while staying with his grandparents in Bear. Police were called to the home on Channing Drive on Monday morning, where they found the child with a bullet wound to his forearm. He was treated at Christiana Hospital. Police later learned the boy's grandfather keeps a loaded handgun under his pillow. At this point, no word on any charges. Convicted killer Tom Capano's lawyer says his client's constitutional rights to a fair trial were violated. Defense attorney Joe Bernstein argued yesterday in a federal appeal that the judge's refusal to allow the jury to consider charges other than murder was wrong. Bernstein says under a 1980 U.S. Supreme Court ruling, a defendant in a capital murder case is entitled to jury instructions that include lesser offenses if there is any evidence to support those offenses. Capano acknowledged during his 1998 trial that he dumped Amory Fahey's body into the Atlantic Ocean, but said her death was an accident. Holding out hope for the Newark Chrysler plant. WDEL News continues in a moment.
You could spend your money at the gas pump, or you could spend it on those sexy pumps at your favorite store. Let DART do the driving. Travel smart. Choose DART.
Plans are on hold to build a high-rise condominium where the Columbus Inn currently sits. The Wilmington Planning Commission tabled plans last night by Sussex County developers Ocean Atlantic to build the high-rise on Pennsylvania Avenue until the developers discuss their plans with local residents. City Councilman Paul Ignudo says tabling of the plans came after Mayor Baker sent a letter to the Planning Commission.
According to the Planning Commission, their charge to us is now to reach out to the developer, and their charge to the developer is to reach out to us in the community and sit down at the table. The mayor's chief of staff has stated that the mayor's office would be happy to facilitate the meeting if need be, and hopefully come up with a compromise.
I think the ball right now is in the developer's court because the mayor has advised that the developers sit down with the community and elected officials so that everybody's concerns can be put on the table.
Harry Hayen lives around the corner from the Columbus Inn and has spoken out against the proposed high-rise. He says he's encouraged by the response this week from the mayor's office and the City Planning Commission.
The mayor, he's not taking sides. He's just saying that the community is part of this. And there needs to be a dialogue, a sincere, genuine dialogue by the developer with the community, and that hasn't taken place.
Senator Carper says Daimler Chrysler workers can help make their own destiny when it comes to keeping the Newark assembly plant open. WDEL's Melanie Armstrong reports.
Carper told business leaders at a county chamber of commerce breakfast that he met with local union members Sunday. He says he told the workers they can make their own brakes.
But if there's a need to find a home to build those vehicles somewhere, that as Daimler Chrysler looks across the country for a plant and a workforce that's committed to quality, to productivity, to thinking outside the box, to being creative, where they have a history of good labor management relations, they'll think of us.
And he says lawmakers have a to-do list as well.
Invest in basic R&D, things like battery technology, fuel cells, plug-in hybrids. Use the federal government's purchasing power to commercialize those new technologies by using our defense dollars, by buying on our civilian dollars, and we buy a lot of vehicles in the federal government. And third, to use tax credits where they make sense to incentivize people to buy the new vehicles with the new technology.
Carper says he's helped get federal money to move the Newark train station 1.5 miles northeast to remove a rail traffic bottleneck for Daimler Chrysler. He says Delaware can help make itself more attractive to the company by working to bring down healthcare costs. Melanie Armstrong, 1150 AM, WDEL.
Senator John McCain gets support from Delaware in his bid to run for president. WDEL's Curtis Gray with details.
Congressman Castle used his Castle for Congress headquarters that brought him success in the last campaign to announce he will chair the Arizona Senators' Presidential Exploratory Committee in Delaware. Using words like honest, hardworking, and a true patriot to describe Senator McCain, Castle called him the strongest of the GOP candidates. Castle says while he and McCain may disagree on items like the troop increase in Iraq, they agree on Iraq overall.
The effort in Iraq was superb. but the secondary efforts of trying to contain violence in the country and make sure that the economy and the government and the educational systems worked left something to be desired. And I think he shares in that. Now the argument has become, how do we get back to that point?
As the Congressman mentioned, we look forward to seeing the Senator several times, I think, between now and the Delaware primary next February. So, again, I'm pleased to add my support to the effort, and I think as the year progresses, you'll see many elected officials, party leaders, and citizens joining the McCain effort here in Delaware.
House Speaker Terry Spence will co-chair McCain's committee. I'm Curtis Gray, 1150 a.m., WDEL.
A measure being considered by County Council would freeze the pay for County Executive Chris Coons' staff. The ordinance was introduced by Council President Paul Clark at Coons' request.
In the early stages, he was allotted a certain amount of money to run his staff, and he's chosen to apply that money to different people at different steps, different pay areas, and he's now chosen during the time that we're fiscally challenged a little bit to freeze those salaries.
75% of our budget is salaries. If you're going to start cutting, salaries have to be part of that whole package. And for the county executive to set the example using his staff is certainly a good example, and I can support that.
Clark says the pay freeze would be one way to address the projected $22 million budget shortfall. The ordinance is scheduled to come up for vote in council next Tuesday, and if passed, would affect about 50 employees. All other county employees are guaranteed a pay raise under their current union contract. Downtown Wilmington's newest building is officially open for business. WDEL's Lee St. John has that story.
First tenants may have started moving in last fall, but Tuesday was the official opening of Wilmington's newest high-rise office tower. Completed in less than 2 years, the WSFS Bank Center at 500 Delaware Avenue hosted a crowd of well-wishers for its ribbon cutting. With a few finishing touches still to go, the building is already home to the downtown branch of the post office, which found out it was losing its lease on Rodney Square more than 2 years ago. According to the Bacini-Poland Group, owners of the building, around 60% of the space in the WSFS Bank Center is already leased.
Congressman Castle's co-sponsoring legislation which would spend more federal money to teach us about the Underground Railroad. Castle spoke about the measure Tuesday at Wilmington Friends Meeting House, an Underground Railroad hideout. The bill supports a variety of National Park Service programs, including some in Delaware, which was home to several Underground Railroad hideouts.
It is stated by people who are more knowledgeable historically than I am, perhaps some in this room could confirm this, that more slaves who were freed came through Delaware than any place else. Whether that is absolutely true or not, just the fact it's even arguable is pretty amazing when you consider our size.
Castle was joined by Bob Seeley, a descendant of Thomas Garrett, who's credited with helping 2,700 slaves find freedom.
There are many brave people in the Underground Railroad who worked together for the cause of freedom.
Under the measure, more money would be given to community programs to tell the stories of people who escaped through the Underground Railroad and their helpers. The seeds have been planted for the state high school basketball tournaments. WDEL Sports and your Delaware AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Looking to gain an edge in the technology or design field? Wilmington College's Division of Information Technology and Advanced Communications offers state-of-the-art facilities equipped with the latest tools. Achieve balance, achieve success.
In WDEL Sports, the Flyers gave up 3 power play goals as the Buffalo Sabres dominated in a 6-3 win. Simone Gagne scored a pair of goals for the Flyers, who lost by identical 6-3 scores on consecutive nights. And Blue Hen Conference, Flight A dominates the top seeds in the upcoming Boys State High School basketball tournament. Christiana is the number 1 seed, Middletown number 2, and Glasgow number 4. Sanford is the 3rd seed. The tournament starts Saturday night. On the girls' side, Ursuline and St. Elizabeth hold down the top 2 seeds, Sanford number 3 and Caravel number 4. The girls' tournament begins Friday. Your WDEL Delaware AccuWeather forecast, mostly sunny today, a high of 51. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 29. Tomorrow, cloudy to partly sunny with a passing shower and a high again, 51. Get news updates throughout the day. Delaware's top stories at the top of the hour on 1150 a.m. WDEL or anytime right here at WDEL.com, including news video from Delaware and around the world from WDEL and the Associated Press. I'm Chris Carl. Thanks for watching.